Hello and welcome. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. Welcome to our Facebook Live today. We are very happy to be offering this Education USA information session about how to finance your studies in the United States. We will do very few introductions and we will be chit-chatting while other people join us for this information session. So I will be hosting this information session today on behalf of the U.S. Embassy's American Center. Together with me, I will have the Education USA advisor for Tunisia, and she will be providing insights about how to finance your studies in the U.S., very important topics that we will be covering today. Maybe the advisor would like to say hi very quickly, just hello to our audience.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today.
Excellent. So for those of you who might not know, the U.S. Embassy in Tunis has a space called the American Center. The American Center is located at the U.S. Embassy, and we provide lots of programs and lots of events for you to participate in. And our overall mission is to provide a space and the opportunity for you to connect with the United States, to communicate with Americans, to engage with one another, learn from each other, and benefit from each other as well. One of the things that we do, one pillar, very important aspect of our work, is we provide lots of information sessions about studying in the US. We know that a lot of you are very interested to go to the United States and finish your studies, your university studies there. So, and we also know that the process is not necessarily very easy for everybody or very obvious. So we do lots of information sessions about that, so we can clarify the process for you. For that, we have an excellent program called the Education USA program. This is a State Department program, and it is your official source of information whenever you are looking for guidance to study in the US. We have an Education USA advisor here in Tunisia, and she will be the speaker for today's info session. And her office is located in Amid East, the Tunis office, and she provides lots of information sessions with the American Center and outside of that as well, both in person and virtual. And she also has provides the opportunity for you to meet face-to-face as well for one-on-one meetings to do follow-ups once you have this one. Okay, let's see. A few housekeeping rules before we start. So we are streaming this event live on Facebook. So all of you are joining us as viewers on Facebook. And we will be also using lots of interaction during this information session. And for that, we have a tool called Menti. And we will ask you to use another device or use the same device that you have and go to menti.com. I am showing the instructions here on my screen, on my shared screen. You are watching this live video and you can see this screen, which I'm sharing. It provides the instructions for how you can join our interactive element to this event. We will have lots of questions throughout this info session and we want you to respond to those questions. So please go to menti.com. Maybe you have another device next to you. In fact, that would be ideal if you have a second device handheld and you can watch the live video on your laptop. So you have two devices, but if you have just one device, that's totally fine. Try to open another tab or another browser and put them next to each other. So you are watching the Facebook Live on one tab or browser, and then you are answering the questions on the other tab or browser. So go to menti.com, enter the code that you see here, which is 568452, and you will be able to answer all of the questions that we will have throughout the session. This will get much clearer as we go through the session. So I just wanted to give those instructions right away. And I will clarify also throughout the session because lots of people will be joining us throughout the session. So I will keep reminding people about those instructions. Okay. So since we have clarified those instructions, this is actually the question number 1 that we have for you, and it is, where in Tunisia are you joining us from? This is great. Some questions have started coming in. Again, the instructions are go to menti.com, enter the code that you see on the screen, which is 568452, and answer the question, where in Tunisia are you joining us from? We provide the 24 governors here. We also have an other option just in case someone might be outside of Tunisia joining us today. So we want to make sure to give you the option to say where you're joining from. And we can see some answers started coming in. This is fantastic. Thank you everybody for joining. So we have people from Ariana, Bezert, Gebels, Nebel, Selena, Sousse, Tunis, and Zarouend. That is amazing. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. We are delighted to have you. And if you have friends or family members that are anywhere in Tunisia, really, please encourage them to join our information sessions that we provide online, virtually. Oftentimes we use Zoom for more private info sessions, but we have also started using Facebook Live. It's probably also another way that might be more convenient for other people. So if you know people that might benefit from these information sessions about studying in the US, please spread the word. If you know someone that you can contact right now and you want to invite them to join this session, it's very easy. Just hop on Facebook on our page and tune in to view the session and interact with us. Excellent. I see some more responses coming in. There's Gasserine and Kef as well, and Monastir. This is fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody. And we really hope that you will find value and also enjoy this information session. All right, let's see. Now, when we talk about studying in the US, there are 5 steps that you need to go through. And these steps are provided here in alphabetical order. So this is not the right order, but we would like you to take a guess at what the right order should be. So in order for you to study in the United States, there are 5 steps that you need to go through. And these 5 steps are listed here. And we want you to take a guess at the right order of these steps. Again, the answer is on your device, menti.com as usual. And this is a ranking question. The question earlier was a multiple choice question, and this one is a ranking question. So we are asking you to rank these 5 steps to studying in the US based on what you think step number 1 is, what do you think step number 2 is, what is step number 3, what is step number 4, and then what is the final step, step number 5. Great. Okay, awesome. There's great. So always step number 2 and step number 3 are confusing or competing for people, I think, and that is understandable. Excellent. Okay, let's see what the right order is. So you are mostly correct. This is the right order of the 5 steps to studying in the US. Step number 1 is research your options to find the right university for you. Step number 2 is finance your studies. You need to find a way to finance your studies. Step number 3 is complete your application. Step number 4 is apply for your student visa. And step number 5 is to prepare for your departure. So in these information sessions on Facebook, we are covering all of these steps, providing guidance under these 5 steps. So if you follow us, you will see that we are covering them step by step and giving you the guidance that you need that way. So actually earlier this month, we covered step number 1, research your options. And this in front of you is a screenshot of the information session that we provided earlier this month. It was also a Facebook Live, and we encourage you to go watch the recording of this info session in order to get more information about step number 1, if you have not joined that. Maybe some of you have joined it and you are here for step number 2, and that is excellent. But if you have missed it, then please be sure to watch the recording. Stay with us now for step number 2 because it's best when it's live, but go watch the recording for step number 1 if you missed it. All right, with that said, today's information session is about step number 2. This is a very important step because you need to finance your studies in order to study in the US. We have several subtopics that we will cover today, and those are: what is the expenses checklist? What do you actually need to pay for? And then what are the sources of funding? Where do I get the money in order to pay for those expenses? And then what are the payment methods? I know what the expenses are. I know what the sources of funding are. How do I pay? What are the payment methods? Those are the 3 subtopics for today's information session about financing your studies. With that, I am going to hand the microphone to our wonderful EducationUSA advisor to give us guidance about step number 2, and starting with the first subtopic about expenses checklist.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you everyone for joining us for this session today. As my colleague said, please stay tuned because we are giving the EducationUSA 5 steps guide for you to keep track of the full application process. So step 2, as we said, we will be covering the financing your studies, how you can look for scholarships, financial aid. I just want to highlight that financial aid packages, they differ from one institution to another, from one university to another. Also, that the financial aid packages for international students, they are competitive. So please make sure to, again, do your own research. That's why all of the steps are in that specific order for you to start with step 1, researching your options, getting to know the universities and the different funding opportunities out there. And with that, we want to ask you a question about the fees that you think you might need. What do you expect to cover when, like, you say, how can I finance your studies? Or I want to study in the US. So please submit any answers that you can think of, any fees that you can think of that are related to expenses that can cover your period studying in the US, whether you are applying for undergraduate studies or graduate studies. So that will be very helpful for us to know, like the idea, like roughly what do you expect, what fees do you need before you apply or after you apply. So please submit your answers using mentimeter.com with this question.
Again, very quickly, the instructions are: go to menti.com for those who have just joined in order to answer these interactive questions that we have on the slides. please go to menti.com, as you can see on this screen. Enter the code 568452 and answer the questions that you see every time you see them. The question this time is, what fees do you expect to cover? And some answers have started coming in. That's excellent.
We have different answers, and again, the thing that I want to highlight is to start early, to plan early, to expect different financial aid packages, to look at different universities' websites. You have different costs that you need to expect. And I see here some answers like the application fee, university fees, accommodation, living costs, visa fees, living expenses. So I think this is great. So housing, accommodation, medical insurance, health insurance. I think this is great, like food and accommodation. And we mentioned like something similar about the cost breakdown in previous sessions, and especially in step 1, researching your options, when we mentioned like the cost breakdown with like the housing, the fees. But today's session will be more into details about the financial aspect that you should expect.
Excellent. Great responses, everybody. Let's hear what's actually on the expenses checklist. Sorry. Okay.
So I just want to highlight that with the expenses, we want to have a checklist. So the checklist will be very helpful for you. It's like the same with the university's list or worksheet, the same thing for expenses. When you are planning ahead, you should expect these like amounts or these fees before applying and after applying. That's why we wanted to help you break it down to a checklist. So before applying, you should expect to have several expenses. So before applying, the first thing that I saw some people mentioned it is the standardized tests. So the international standardized tests are part of your application file or your application folder. So standardized tests, whether you are applying for undergraduate studies, you will need the SAT subject test, the TOEFL IBT for English language proficiency. And for graduate studies, you will also need the same thing for English language proficiency, whether it's the IELTS or the TOEFL IBT. You will also need other graduate tests like the GRE. If you're applying for a specific major or other specific topics, you will expect to have additional tests. So as I said, the tests are very important for universities to understand your reasoning skills, your academic skills, but also it is a test that is an international one. So a lot of international students are requested, and it is a mandatory part of your application package. Something else that I want you to consider are the tests, online preparation or in-person preparation. So for the in-person preparation, you have different ways of having different centers provide you with different opportunities to prep for the SAT or for the TOEFL IBT. So as an example, the Amethyst Center here in Tunisia, we offer the online preparation for the TOEFL IBT or the in-person preparation for the SAT. So please check with our centers how you can register and then benefit from this opportunity. So these are also expenses that you should think of. Something else that is related to standardized tests is sending your scores to the actual university. So universities will expect you to send your scores, whether it's the GRE, the TOEFL IBT, SAT, or any other test. So you should expect some fees. Sometimes they can range from $20 to $40. It depends on the school, it depends on the test. So expect to send your standardized test to your scores to the schools for them to consider you for any scholarship or any application. So something else that is also related to your application, and you should expect these fees, are the translation fees. So translation fees, I just want to highlight, whether you are in high school or at university, you need your academic transcripts. So your academic transcripts for high school, we have 4 yearly ones. So the annual bulletin that you receive. And for university students, you will have the attestation de réussite et relevé de notes. These are considered your academic transcripts or transcripts. I know sometimes students, they see the terminology of academic transcripts on transcripts, and sometimes it is a little bit confusing. So I just want to highlight, these are your academic transcripts that you should expect, and you should translate them by a sworn translator that you can find in different areas and different Tunisian governorates. So my application folder is ready. I have my test. I sent my scores to the universities. I translated my documents. I applied online. I wrote my essays. Everything is ready for me to hit submit and to send my applications to the chosen universities in my list. So when you apply to universities, so American universities, they have this policy of submitting an application fee that can range from $30 up to $100. It really, again, depends on the university. It may change from one year to another, and you should expect to pay these fees to the universities for them to consider reviewing your application request for undergraduate or graduate studies. And usually this information will be found on the respective university's websites. So this is to give you an idea that you should check when you are researching the universities and creating the Excel sheet, to check even like the amounts of the application fees, to check if the universities, they accept the standardized tests submitted via email, or they want them to be officially sent from ATS or College Board centers. So please, this is very important information that we want you to consider so that you don't miss out, and also that you can respect your application deadlines as well. Something else that is also important, so this is very relevant to undergraduate applicants. So those of you who are in high school and they want to apply for undergraduate studies, you should expect, along with the academic application that you will be submitting, you will need financial aid forms. So for universities to check your financial need, whether your family can contribute to your budget or not. So financial aid forms can be found on the website of College Board, and we can offer you the link in the comments section in the Facebook Live. So you should expect to fill in the CSS profile and the ISFA. The CSS profile, you have specific fees for each university and how to submit your files. That also should be part of your expenses and fees package. The ISFA is free, so just to give you an idea about the different forms that universities ask or request from international students to review their files and their applications. So once you are admitted, which is being accepted at the university or offered a specific financial aid package, you should expect to have other fees after you are expected. So when you are expected to attend a university or a school in the US, you will need the visa fee to be part of your package. As we mentioned in the 5 steps, and we keep repeating with the 5 steps guide, it's part of step number 4, applying for your student visa. I just want to highlight the student visa is the F1 visa. So the amount is $180, but again, keep checking the US Homeland Security website for any additional updates, for any new fees for any changes or edits that might occur to get the final information. Along with the visa fee, you will need the CVIS fee for international students to be able to study at an American university. So this fee now is, the amount is $350. And sometimes in your acceptance letters from universities will cover this fee. Again, it's not guaranteed, but again, you can sometimes negotiate with the university, or sometimes the university will offer it part of your admission financial aid package. Other fees that you need, you will be traveling to the US, so you should take into consideration the airfare, so any flight tickets that you might need to actually travel to your American university, and coordinate with the university for any pickup venues or pickup ideas that they might have to help you have your transportation from the airport to the US campus specifically. So settlement expenses, these are personal expenses that you should expect to have at the beginning of your first month or first 2 months at the American university. Other fees that you should expect are the enrollment fee. So enrollment fees, usually it's paying for your dorms, whether you are staying on campus, or sometimes it is a deposit fee if you're staying off campus. Enrollment fees, usually they're expected to be, the amount will be $500, and sometimes it depends from one university to another. So please check these informations, whether they are on the university websites or with the academic advisor or the representative of the university.
Excellent. Thank you so much, advisor. Let's see what we have next. Sources of funding, which is our next subtopic.
For sources of funding, we just want to highlight that you have different types of financial aid, different types of scholarships. We can start by scholarships, and sometimes we need a definition for scholarships itself. So scholarships means that you don't have to be paying the university back. So this is the money that you are, it may be awarded to you based on your merit or partially on your merit. So we keep highlighting that some scholarships are merit-based scholarships. So based on your outstanding academic record, on any different merit that you have. You have different other types of opportunities that you should expect. Family contribution, sometimes you will receive 90% of the scholarship or 80% of the scholarship, and your family contribution will come in handy if they have savings, if they want to help you with some remaining expenses to bridge the gap for you to be able to attend that American university or school. Sometimes you also find different sponsors, external opportunities, different sponsors, they might help you pay for certain commodities or for certain fees. Something else that you can have, if you are applying for a graduate program, you might find a research or teaching assistantship or /fellowship in the university. So that can help you finance your studies, the master's or the master's combined with a PhD, and also teach, have a professional experience, and you can get a stipend, and the university will offer you like accommodation and different lodging fees. Sometimes universities, they offer grants. So grants, again, they are like the scholarships. They're awarded to you based on your need, and you don't have to pay them back. So sometimes, again, it depends on the university. You have like different terminology, whether it's scholarship, it's financial aid, it's a grant, it's an award. Sometimes universities, they use these terms interchangeably. Sometimes they just have different definitions for different programs. You can also work on campus. So it's called like kind of a work-study program. With your F1 visa, you are entitled to work up to 20 hours a week. So That doesn't mean that you will find 20 hours. Please keep in mind that you are going there to study. And again, you need the approval, the official approval of the University International Admissions Office for you to be able to perform any duties on campus and to be able to be paid. Again, it depends on the university and it depends on the financial aid package. Sometimes it can be a part-time campus job that can allow you to get some pocket money, and it can be helpful for you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This is great. All right, now the next question that we have for you is a bit of a challenge. So based on the information that the educational advisor just provided, let's imagine a scenario where your total expenses for the university that you have chosen and have been admitted to, or are considering or hoping to get admitted to, is $100,000. How would you distribute these $100,000 of expenses based on the sources of funding that you have, which we have talked about? So we have scholarships, you can get on-campus jobs, external sponsors, assistantships, and your own savings and contributions of family or relatives. So looking at this scenario, your total expenses are $100,000 for the university that you have in mind, or the universities that you have in mind and you want to apply to or get admitted to. How would you distribute these expenses based on the funding sources that you have, which we have talked about? And these are 5 things that are listed, and you can answer on your device as usual. For those of you who have just joined, we are using an interactive tool. So you can go to menti.com, enter the code that you see here on the screen, 568452, and answer the question. Okay.
This is great, Narges, and I just want to take the opportunity to highlight that you have different offers with universities. Sometimes the school, they don't have a scholarship package allocated for international students, and they will offer you a tuition waiver. So a tuition fee waiver will help you not pay for the school fees, which is sometimes a very large amount of money, and they will ask you only to pay for your accommodation, like room and board and health insurance. So that also can be part of a hidden scholarship in a way that is not a direct indirect contact. So keep that in mind. You can also get, again, a tuition fee waiver, and that also is considered as a scholarship.
Excellent. Now that we have talked about these, the expenses checklist, as well as the sources of funding, let's talk about the payment methods. How can I pay for those expenses out of the sources of funding that we have identified?
Okay, so payment methods. As you know, here in Tunisia, we don't have an international payment card, so we need to check different resources, eligible resources out there for Tunisian students. So I want to highlight that if you want to pay for standardized tests, such as the SAT, the TOEFL, IBT, and any related test, feel free to pay through the testing department at Amidist, Tunisia. So you have to contact them to check the availability of the payment. So when it comes to a standardized test, you are good to go. For other things, if you want to pay for your application fee or for any like expected fees before applying, or financial aid forms, please check the opportunity that you have with the Tunisia Post Office. So you can go to the Tunisia Post Office and ask or request to create an international bank card. It's called the Carte Technologique Internationale. Carte Technologique Internationale, that you can pay. You have the equivalent of 1,000 Tunisian dinars that you can help pay some application fees or any other tests that you want to apply to. Other payment methods, if you want to use our international card. As long as we have academic expenses with the Amadis Education USA Tunisia bank card, we can help you process these payments unless you contact me, of course, in advance. Please respect your deadlines so we don't miss out. And feel free to contact me at least 2 weeks before the actual deadline for me to process the payment and take into consideration different factors. So these are two opportunities that can help you with different fees. Some people will rely on acquaintances, family members, or friends with international cards. That's also a personal commitment that you can choose to refer to. Now, when we talk about the family contribution or the remaining gap or your savings to pay the university itself for the remaining amount of your attendance cost, you can refer to the Tunisia Central Bank for you to start an official folder, academic folder, dossier de scolarité d'étudiants à l'étranger, and they will give you the full document that you need to submit that document and how to collaborate with your bank for your parents to be able to send you money when you are in the US with the different restrictions, of course, that you have with the Tunisia Central Bank. So just these are some ideas for you to understand how you can pay before applying and also after being accepted at the university.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much. So here is a question for everybody. So please join this quiz. We have a question for you based on the information that has been provided so far. So on your device, you will see that you will be assigned an avatar and a nickname as well. So feel free to keep that nickname and just click on join quiz. And we will go ahead and get started with this question that we have for you. Start quiz. And please keep in mind here that actually there is about a 15-minute delay because we are streaming to Facebook. And that means that I think the question will appear on your phone before it will appear on this screen. Just given a few minutes for people to join this quiz, and we will go ahead and get started.
Okay, so if we're waiting for people, I just also want to highlight that we can apply for fee waivers, application fee waivers. So universities, they have different offers where students can demonstrate their financial need. If you cannot afford to pay the full application fee, they can offer you fee waivers. So sometimes they have different requests for fee waivers on their websites. So I really encourage you to apply to these fee waivers requests so you're not paying $50 or $100 just to submit your file. And again, universities, they use the policy of first come, first serve to actually deliver and offer these financial fee waivers. So keep that in mind as well. We also encourage you to submit your questions in the comments below. And after we finish this quiz, we can start the Q&A sessions. So anything related to funding, financial aid, scholarships, needed elements, any experience that you had. So please feel free to submit your questions and we can tackle them as soon as you're ready.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so the question is right here. What is the right payment method for a family contribution of $3,000? Please submit your answers on your devices. This is a time-limited question because it's a quiz. Out of the 3 options that you see on your phone, it's better to look at your phone while answering this question. So Tunisian Post Office or Anidist Education USA International Card or the Tunisian Central Bank. You have a family contribution of $3,000 to help with your expenses in order to study in the US. What is the right payment method for this? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. All right. Okay, good. Most people said Tunisian Central Bank. Maybe we'll hear from the advisor.
Yes, this is great. As I said, if you have the family contribution or savings and you have a remaining amount that you should pay the university directly to be able to study at the American University, you should go through the central bank, create an official student folder, and to be able to have a clearance to wire your money, your Tunisian dinars, to the US in the dollar currency. So just keep that in mind. We cannot help you as Anidist Education USA paying the university. We only help you for the academic application fees. So keep that in mind. Whether it's like the CVIS fee, whether it's the enrollment fee, application fee, financial aid forms, we help you with that. You can also use the Tunisia Post Office. Again, you have a limited amount of 1,000 Tunisian dinars that you should keep in mind as well. But well done for those who answered Tunisian Central Bank. For any additional information, feel free to reach out to me for any future questions.
Great. There is a leaderboard here for this question, so we can look at that very quickly. Excellent. So you need to respond correctly, but also be the fastest person to respond correctly. So Belle was the winner, and you must have had a little party at on your device. So congrats and good, well done. Okay, some useful websites.
We provided you with some useful websites. If you can see the next slide, that would be great. For useful websites for funding opportunities, as you can see here, how you can fund your studies, guaranteed scholarships, FastWeb, Big Future College Board, College Navigator. So we have different websites, and you can start also with the financial aid portal at the educationusa.state.gov, and we can provide you with that website also in the comments for you to use as an additional resource while you are researching universities. So please vary your resources to look for different sources of funding.
All right, excellent. Let's see. Now we have the Q&A session, and we have received a few questions so far, but on your device, if you go to menti.com and enter this code, you will find a direct call here to submit questions to the advisor about financing your studies in the US. So please submit your questions in on there on your device, and we will go ahead and get started with answering the questions. Let's see, how can I get a scholarship?
Very good question. We just referred to the useful websites that you can check as a first step. Again, I always say that step number 1, step number 2 are very linked. So while you are researching universities, you should check different websites. They offer you the different opportunities for international students to get scholarships and financial aid. Something else, check also the university's websites themselves for different financial aid and scholarship packages. So this is the easiest way for you to get a scholarship.
Excellent. We are marking this question answered and going to the next one. And the next one says, how can I cover expenses? I need a scholarship for undergraduate programs.
So if you want to fully cover your expenses, you need to apply for merit-based scholarships. These are usually based on your holistic profile. So universities will check your standardized test scores, your essays, your class rank, any achievements, experience that you have, but also your scores in the standardized tests, as well as your essay. So keep that in mind, that also these fully funded scholarships for undergraduate students will be very competitive. So just check the different opportunities out there, but also try to have a competitive application.
Excellent. Great. Thank you so much. Marking that question answered. How hard is it to get accepted into an American medical school?
Yes. So it's not about being hard. Again, the system is competitive and selective. It's about your own motivation, but also, again, I always repeat it, it's the holistic approach. So universities, they don't look at your grades only. They will look at your essays, your scores, your academic GPA throughout your high school years. And again, it's part of the package for university to review your file. So it's not about being hard, it's about being selective and for you to have an outstanding application. Do you have another question?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that answer. Where can I find the other live about how to choose your university? Great, we can answer this question. So our colleagues who are moderating the comments on Facebook will provide the link for our previous Facebook Live session. So you can go and watch it. Our previous Facebook Live information session about studying in the US was about step number 1, which is researching your options. So it's an hour-long info session, so please go and watch that. Our colleagues who are moderating the questions will provide the link for that. Thank you for your interest.
Do we have other questions?
Yes, marking that one answered. Next question is, I have a graduation diploma, Business English Studies. Do I have to pass standardized tests anyway?
Well, it depends if you studied in English. So if the means of instruction in your Business English Studies is in English, you can email the university, ask to talk to the admissions officer and explain the situation and show them your degree. But usually you need the English language proficiency, whether it's the TOEFL or IELTS, unless the university will accept your graduate diploma if the means of instruction for all of these years was in English. And again, it depends on the university. For the other standardized tests, it depends. Some universities will request the GRE or GMAT if you're studying business or accounting. So I really encourage you to check. It really depends on the universities that you choose and what are the actual requirements. But this is a very good question. Thank you for submitting that.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's see, we have a few more questions. Okay, that's good. A lot of love, that's good. Okay, if you have any questions, everybody, please do submit submit them through menti.com. Here are the instructions.
Do we have any questions in the Facebook Live that, or in the comments? This is a great opportunity for students to ask their questions. There is no wrong question, so please submit your questions for us to help you get an insightful answer for that.
Maybe I can provide a question.
Okay.
There may be an interval of how much a program or tuition fees can be. Is it, how between how much and how much could it be for universities in the US? How much would a tuition fee cost?
I think this is a very good question, and well, again, it depends on the university. It depends if your program is an undergraduate program or if it is a graduate program. So check if you want to study undergraduate studies, aim for 4 years, because you need 4 years to finish your undergraduate diploma and get your bachelor degree. So keep that in mind. You need expenses for 4 years. So check the university international acceptance rate, check their financial aid package. And again, it can vary. If it is an undergraduate program, it can vary from 60,000 to 75 to 80 a year. I usually don't give the amount. It depends on the cost scenario that you have. So I want you to be wise. Check the total tuition or the the full financial aid package along with the university costs, and check the international acceptance rate. So how much is the university giving you, and is it worth the bridging the gap or using your family contribution? So that's something smart that you can do. Something else that if you are relying on your family contribution only, you can look for a cheaper option, which is a community college for undergraduate studies. So check those if it is applicable to you.
Excellent, thank you so much. So other questions have been coming in. What are the criteria to benefit from the scholarships?
The criteria, again, this is a very good question. I always say that scholarships from different American universities, the scholarships are based on merit. And what universities mean by merit is, again, you showing that you are the great candidate for that scholarship. So you convincing the school that you are the right fit for the university, but also the university is the right match for you. So schools will be looking for an outstanding academic record. So the class rank matters. If you took advanced classes matters. Any academic achievements that you did, that's very relevant. And also they will look at your essays, the personal statement of purpose. It depends. Again, they will look at your scores for the standardized tests. So please aim to have high scores. They will look for your achievement, your leadership skills, different community service, different activities. So that's part of the holistic approach. So universities are looking for well-rounded profiles. So these are the criteria. And again, the application requirements, they might differ from one university to another. So please, again, we always advise you to go to the university's websites to have the most updated, accurate information.
Excellent. Marking this question answered, and we are going to try to go through the remaining questions a little bit faster. Question is, how much are SAT, GRE, and TOEFL preps at Amid East?
So I highly encourage you to contact them, to call our Amid East Center here on the landline, which is 71. We can also provide it to you in the comments, or you can find it online. 71 145 700. You can call them, or you can come here in person to inquire about the latest amounts or fees for SAT, GRE, TOEFL here at Amid East.
Excellent. Marking this question answered. Next one, how can I get a scholarship? Very broad question.
We answered that one.
Okay, great. How should I do to be part of a research and teaching assistantship?
This is a very good question. So usually these opportunities are found on the admissions, international admissions, graduate programming of the university's websites. So I encourage you to go there to check the different opportunities that you might find there. Okay, so the latest information about these will be in the university website itself.
Great. Next one. Hi, thank you for the live, but how can I get a common app fee, common application?
What do you mean common application fee?
Okay, so, whoever did this question, if you could please resubmit it again and clarify the question a little bit. We're going to mark it answered, but we'll wait for your question. We'll hope to get you. When does the next session start for applying? Okay, great. We will announce this, the next information session on our Facebook page, and we will also give you the opportunity to subscribe to the American Center's mailing list for studying in the US. So stay tuned for that, follow our page, and we will announce it in a few days or weeks.
Okay.
Can I get a scholarship for a master's degree program? I think I can say yes and go on. Okay, we do have a few more questions actually. Let's see. I heard that there are some community colleges in the US that don't require a high school degree. Is that true? Is it possible for international students that didn't pass their back exam to study in the US?
Okay.
This has to do with financing your studies, the topic, but we can answer it briefly.
We can answer it quickly too. So please take into consideration that all American universities, whether they are community colleges, private universities, public universities, they require your high school degree or high school diploma. In our case, 3 are accepted: the Tunisian baccalaureate, the French baccalaureate, and the international IB program baccalaureate. So these 3 are needed for you to apply for as an international student for undergraduate studies. So your back exam is mandatory. Please take that into consideration.
Excellent, thank you so much. Next question, I have low grades. Will I still get a scholarship?
Again, it depends on the type of scholarship, award, or grant that you're applying to. With low grades, sometimes expect a partial financial aid or a partial scholarship instead of a full merit-based scholarship. But again, it depends on the universities and their packages.
Great. Next one, can a 1400 SAT score guarantee you a scholarship?
Good question. So it's not about the score itself. As I said, it's a full package that universities look at. So it depends on the universities that you're applying to, what are their minimum cutoff scores. So they will tell you what is the minimum cutoff score for you to be able or eligible to apply for that particular scholarship in the university itself.
Awesome, thank you so much. Next question, is it possible to work and study in the US at the same time?
Again, I think I answered a little bit quickly this question, especially about the working in the US. With your F1 visa, you can work up to 20 hours, provided that the job or the work It's a part-time job on campus, and the university approves formally and officially approves for you to do so.
Fantastic. Next one. Can I have a scholarship when applying for a master's program?
I think we answered that, right?
Yes, great. Next one. Okay, this one is resubmitted. How can we get a Common App fee waiver? That's a different. Okay,
yes. So in the Common App fee waiver, I advise you to check the Common App website for the different fee waivers, because they have certain requirements that you can check and apply for a fee waiver to have different application fees waived.
Fantastic. Next question. What are the criteria to benefit from financial aids and scholarships?
I think we answered that, right? Yes, some of the questions are...
Great. Yes, we still have some questions here going through. Okay, next one. Should I fill the FAFSA and the CSS, or do I have to choose only one of them?
Great question. This is for someone who started their research. So please take into consideration that the FAFSA is for American students. So what is needed for us is the ISFA, so International Student Financial Aid Application, that is found on the College Board website, and the CSS profile as well. So we encourage you, if you're applying for undergraduate studies, to apply for both the CSS profile and the ISFA. CSS profile is like fee-based, and the ISFA is free. The FAFSA is for American students. And I think my colleague inserted the links for the financial aid forms in the comments section, so that you can check the CSS and the ISFA as well.
Thank you so much. Next question. Can I pay for SAT at Amidist?
Yes, so for any standardized test, you can pay for the SAT at Amidist. Just for this current situation after the COVID-19 and the lockdown, we have the SAT, they changed the dates. So for the August and September sessions, you are asked to apply online and register online for the SATs, just exceptionally for this period. This is the only way for you to register for the September and the August sessions. And after that, for the additional other dates, you are free to register here. But again, sometimes it's easier for you to pay and register online.
Excellent. Next question. Is it possible to get rejected because of the amount of financial aid you need, since most colleges are need aware?
Actually, it depends. So this is a very, very good question. It depends on the need aware, need blind packages. And I just want to highlight that universities, it depends on their packages. For need blind admissions, this is a term that universities usually use if they will not consider the application's financial situation when deciding on admission. So universities, if they are need aware, they will check if your parents can contribute or not. But sometimes we encourage you to apply for need blind universities, because these universities will not check your financial situation. So they will give you the financial aid package that you are requesting, but keep in mind that they are very competitive. So, and we have different sources of funding, whether it is endowments or any other financial aid packages.
Thank you so much. Next question. What can make a university, especially private ones, whose aim is to gain money to provide international students, strangers, with scholarships?
Well, this is, I think this is a great question, but it is related to financial aid policies that are very relevant to the American universities themselves. So it's something that you can check in the frequently asked questions sections of the university's website, or also you are free to email them as well if you don't find the answer for that.
Yeah, definitely universities have very good reasons to provide scholarships to international students, and some of them might have different responses and different reasons than others.
True.
want to say very quickly that we are only answering the questions that are relevant to today's topic, which is financing your studies in the US. We have received so many questions, but we do not have time to answer all of them. So we have decided to focus on today's topic, which is financing your studies. So thank you very much for your understanding, and but also stay tuned because we are offering lots and lots of information sessions. So join us to get your other questions about other topics answered, okay? All right, let's see what the next one is. Is it possible to get a full ride scholarship if your EFS is $0?
Okay, I like this this crowd, the sessions crowd. Someone clearly are doing their full research. So I just want to highlight the acronym. The EFC is the expected financial contribution. So again, it depends on the universities. If you are requesting a full ride with zero expected family contribution or financial aid contribution, you should apply to need-blind universities, and you can find their listings or their rankings on universities online using different research engines. But yeah, someone is clearly started their research. Please follow up with me if you need any additional advice.
Yes, excellent. Great questions, everybody. Fantastic. Okay. How much does sending the CSS ISFA cost? And is it possible to get a fee waiver for that?
This is a great question. So with the CSS, I think the registration is $9 and sending to each university will cost $16. This was the amount last year. So please don't take my answer as the final answer. This information will also be provided on the CSS profile link. So check it and see if the amount changed or not. So last time I checked, that's the amount. The ISFA is free. So the ISFA is just a PDF document that you download, you fill in, and then you submit to the universities. And also you can email the universities to request a fee waiver, just like the application fee. So this is a great question.
Great, thanks. Final question. Most universities require an advisor or a school counselor to write a letter that proves that you qualify for a fee waiver. But in Tunisia, we don't really have school counselors. So what do we do in that case?
This is a great question, and I advise you to please check the official sources to provide this accurate information. So you have different sections. You have in the common application, you have the advisor section that if I'm working with you, I can fill in using the EducationUSA Amidy's resources. And our resources are the official sources, official source for US higher education. And also our services are free services. So it is also mentioned, and you can use my contact information if I'm working with you in the common app or in other application portals. The other thing, it's different. So a school counselor is different from the advisor. So I cannot qualify as your school counselor. I can qualify as your advisor. For the school counselor, I know that we have this challenge in Tunisia where we don't have particularly this job title or job description for a school counselor. What I advise you to do is to reach out to me so that you can have a Tunisian teacher. So it needs to be an official source. So your high school is an official source. And also your EducationUSA is also an official source. So anything else is not credible, and anything else is not an official source and cannot be considered by American universities. So please refer to your high school teachers or to EducationUSA at Amidy's to have the clear qualifications for asking for a fee waiver. If you want any additional advice on this, we will share with you my contact information, and feel free to reach out to me to complete your application, but also to have additional assistance for this letter for fee waiver.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Those were all of the questions today that are relevant to our topic about financing your studies. Again, we know that a lot of questions did come in about several other topics, and we had to prioritize today's topic, which is financing your studies. So we answered those questions because people have joined us live in order to get information about that specific topic. But please follow us for upcoming information sessions where we will definitely address those questions. You can submit them again and we can get those answered. We will try to compile these questions and provide answers to them in the event page. We created an event for today's event on Facebook, on our Facebook page. So we can provide the link for that and you can hopefully find answers to these questions. We will try to do that, but definitely follow our upcoming info sessions about the next steps. Okay, now that we are basically done with this information session, we just want to hear from you about your overall assessment of this event. Did this, or was this below your expectations? What, do you prefer not to say? Did this meet your expectations, or did this session today exceed your expectations? Now go to your device again, menti.com, just like you submitted the questions, just like you answered the interactive slides and you participated in the quiz earlier. It's the same process. Please let us know what your overall assessment of today's session is. We would love to hear from you. Did this exceed your expectations? Did it meet your expectations? Do you prefer not to say? Or was this below your expectations? You can be honest.
True, and your feedback is very important. We know that we cannot cover everything in 1 hour, and we know that your time is precious. We tried to use Mentimeter to make it more interactive and to hear from you about different questions and different quizzes for you to stay engaged, but also give us your insightful thoughts or any questions that you might have. So any feedback for us to make different improvements would be great. So for us to assess the different sessions. Excellent.
It seems like everybody had their expectations met or exceeded today. So we can give ourselves a round of applause. That's good. Great. That's great to hear, everybody. Thank you. Okay. Now, we can skip this question, actually. We have a few more questions for you about the platform that you prefer that we use for these information sessions. So today we used Facebook Live. In the past, we have used Zoom a lot. So Facebook Live is much more public. Zoom is more private. We can actually do both at the same time. So you can join us, choose where to join us. You can join us either on Facebook or on Zoom. We can do that at the same time. Today, we are only doing Facebook Live, for example. Another option is Google Meet. You see the options on your phone. That's another option that we could also use if you are familiar with it. I think Google Meet is the new name for Google Hangout. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, it seems like a lot of people prefer Facebook Live, but a combination of Facebook Live and Zoom is also preferred. Some people prefer Zoom only. Okay, that's good to hear. Thanks, everybody. Now, what do you prefer during summer? Do you prefer events in the mornings or events in the afternoons? If you can let us know, we would be very happy to learn from you. If you prefer events in the mornings during summer specifically, so during this summer, do you prefer that we provide these information sessions or events in general at the American Center, whether in person or virtually? Do you want them to be in the mornings or in the afternoons? Which one do you prefer? So today's event was basically in the morning, started at 11. Okay, so it's a mix. Okay, that's good to know. Thanks, everybody. Next question, one more question, I think. How long do you prefer these events to be? You have a couple of options, 45 minutes long. Do you want them to be 60 minutes long, 75 minutes long, or 90? An hour and a half. Okay. A lot of people are saying 60 minutes long. That's good to know. Okay. 90 minutes long also. 45. Okay. Sure. 75. All right. Well, that's good to hear. Most people prefer 1 hour long events. Okay. Now, before you go, we want to show you how you can set your following of our Facebook page to see first. Some of you have asked when is the next information session going to be. So please like our Facebook page and set the following to see first. The default is just default, but set the following to see first in order to see our event announcements as soon as you open your Facebook. Do the same thing for EducationUSA Tunisia Facebook page as well. You will see lots of updates and lots of events and postings about different types of guidance about studying in the US, so please do that as well. And then finally, if you want the American Center to email you about these information sessions with EducationUSA, then you can enter your email address on your phone, again on menti.com. Please do not type your email address in the comments on Facebook. Please enter them only on your device, menti.com, using the code like you did throughout this session. And we will be sure to add you to our mailing list about the various events that we do about studying in the US. Some of you might prefer to receive emails rather than follow the Facebook page. So we can let you know via email as well. I think that was it for today's info session. Thank you so much for coming, for joining us. Thank you so much to the EducationUSA advisor for all of the insights and the excellent responses to the amazing questions that you asked. Very pertinent questions. And we hope to see you in upcoming sessions. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining.